Okay, we learned about the arrays, how to create, declare, instantiate arrays. And in this lecture, we're going to be learning about arrays and objects because arrays, as we mentioned last time, can work with primitive and also with objects. So let's have an example of a class called students. So we're going to create that class and then we're going to create objects out of them and then we're going to store them in an array. So let's make it simple. Let's say we have three variables. We have the name of the student, and then we have the number of absences, absences, and also grade, final grade, final grade. Okay, so we're going to create a constructor. So public students. And then we have N for the name, AB for absences, and then grade. And then we're going to assign this parameters to our variables. So name equals N, num absences equals AB, final grade equals grade. So we're going to have the accessor method. So it's going to return this variable. So we have get name, return name, and then we have get absences, and return number of absences, and then return final grade. Just return get grade. So we're gonna return final grade. We can also have the modifier. Okay, it's very unlikely we're going to be changing the name, but it's possible that we may change the number of absences due to a mistake or an error. And also it's possible to change the grade as well. So we're going to have two modifier. So set absences, and this is the new number of absences. So I'm going to have num absences equals AB. And then I'm going to change the final grade. So set grade. So final grade equals TR. And finally, we are going to add the toString. Public string toString. So we're gonna have the name, then maybe like a little space, number of absences, space, and finally the final grade. So this is the student class. Now let's create a few objects from the student class, and then we're going to create an array, but this time an array of type object. So let's create 3 or 4 objects from the student class. So let's say Maria equals new, and then call the constructor. Constructor has 3 values. So we have the name. If you don't know what you're putting here, you go back to the constructor and then see what's in there. So we have the name, we have absences, and then grade. So let's say the absences is 1 absence, and the grade is 9. So let's just copy this and paste it, and then change the values so we don't waste too much time. Okay, we're gonna make like 4 or 5 of them. So let's say here we have Bob. So let's say Bob has 3 absences, and then his grade is 82. And then we have Tim, and then 0 absences, and then it has a final grade of 100. And then let's say Mike. Okay, the name is Mike. And then he has 5 absences. And then he got 65. And finally, let's say we have Joe. And then he has also 4 absences. And then he has 70. Right, so now let's create an array. So create an array. So we put the type. In this case, we have an array of students. I'm going to put the square brackets. Let's give it a name, classroom, for example, a new, and then you put student, then you put the name, how many spots in there. So we can just add the objects in there. So we can put Maria, objects, the first objects, Bob, Tim, Mike, Joe. So now we have an array of 5 students. Okay, and then let's do something to that array. Like for example, let's say what is the average? What is the average grade for this classroom? So we need a variable. So let's say, so okay, calculate the average grade. So we need a variable sum. Then we have 4, starting from the beginning, I less than the name, which is classroom, dot links, and then we're going to add them up. Add, so we need to access the array first, so we're going to put classroom I dot get a grade. That get grade. So that's going to give us access to the grade. So once we finish adding all the grades, then it's time to get the average. The average class grade is, and then we put sum divided by the classroom length. Okay, you can cast it here to double. Let's build the program, make sure, okay, we are missing semicolon somewhere, so I'm gonna click, find out, okay, we have semicolon missing, and then build it. Okay, now everything is fine. Now let's run the program. As you can see, the average, based on this example, the average class grade is 81.4. Okay. Something else, maybe we can count how many students are passing. So count the number of passing students. So let's say we have a variable count and value of 0, and then we are going to cycle through the array and then count how many passing students we have in this classroom. So I less than classroom dot length, What's the condition for the student to pass? You should get a grade of at least 70. So I'm going to put here F. So we need to access the array first. Then you have to call the method to access the grade, which is getGrade. If it is higher or equal than 70, so that condition is true, then we're going to increment the variable count. And then we're going to display the results. So the number of passing students is count. Let's run the program again. So the average class is 81.4 and the number of passing students is 4. Let's find out. So Maria is passing, Bob is passing, Tim and Joe. So that's 4, okay? So let's add one more thing. Let's say, for example, this class or the teacher of this class or the administration of the school are very strict when it comes to absences. So if there is any student in the classroom who has more than 3 absences, then he should be removed from the classroom. How can we do that? So I'm going to put, for example, remove student with absences higher than 3. How can we do that? Okay. So we're going to cycle through the array less than classroom dot length I plus plus. What's the condition for the student to be removed? So we're going to put F access the array classroom. And then what's the method that keeps track of the number of absences? So we have it in the students class. If you go back to the students class, you're going to find that there is get absences. Okay. So we're going to put here get absences if it is higher than 3. Which means like 4, 5, 6, and above. So what do you do? So how do we remove a student from the classroom? We remove it, since we are dealing with array. To remove an object from the array, you just assign it null. So we're going to put classroom I equals null. That means there is no object in there. Now let's print an array. Let's print the array and find out if they were removed or not. So I'm going to put here arrays and by the way, we have to import. Every time you want to print or do something to the array, you have to import the arrays class. So import Java util that arrays, or you can put asterisk. Okay, so system out print line arrays dot toString and then classroom. So originally we have 5 students, and then how many students they are supposed to be removed? Maria, she's okay with her absence. She has only 1. Bob has 3, but still can stay. Tim has 0 absences, but Mike, let's fix Mike here. So Mike has 5 absences, should be removed, and Joe as well. So 2 students are supposed to be removed. So let's run the program and see if they are removed from the array. Okay, as you can see right here, look at the array. So we have Maria, she's still there, Bob still there, Tim, but look at the last 2 students whose number of absences exceed 3. They are null, they are not there anymore, so they were removed from the classroom. So this is an example of how we can manipulate the array using objects. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next lecture.